Well, my name is Danielle Klooster, and I am a business strategist, trainer, coach, and consultant. I work a lot with startups as well as small businesses who are stuck in some area and really not getting the results that they want. So I work within the arena of business foundations to help them get all of their strategy in place so they can get those results. I also do a lot of consulting work with not-for-profits in the arena of strategy and different consulting engagements with them. I'm a podcaster, I'm an author, a public speaker, so I just get out there and talk a lot and have a lot of fun.
Thanks for listening to the Business Banter Podcast. My name is Mark Poppen and I run Funky Moose Digital, where I take care of web design, digital marketing, and e-commerce consulting. This is a podcast about how business owners got their start, what their drive is, which struggles they've faced, how they've overcome them, what the future holds, and whatever else comes up in conversation. Please make sure you subscribe in your favorite app so you can get notified when a new episode is live, and check out businessbanter.ca. You can follow me on social media, and I'll put the links in the show notes. And if you want to buy me a coffee, you can do that at buymeacoffee.com/markpoppen. You just heard my guest introduce herself. I asked Danielle to tell us who she is and what she does in about 1 or 2 sentences. It's a good indicator of how the rest of the conversation went. She has a wealth of knowledge, and this episode is full of great, actionable tips. I hope you enjoy.
I had a feeling you wouldn't be able to put that in 1 or 2 sentences.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack that. So,
Sure.
Like I said, I know you as a business coach. So what does that entail, and how do you coach businesses?
Right. So it's typically 2 types of people that will come to me. Either they are an entrepreneur in their startup journey, and they realize that while they know a lot about their product or service, and they're really passionate about that they don't know a lot about business, and they don't know the process of getting themselves from idea to launch. So I have a 12-week program that I walk startups through to give them all those business foundations and help them get from idea to execution. And then the other type of business client that I engage with for coaching is those small businesses who are just sort of running around in scramble mode, doing their best headless chicken routine. They're super busy, but they might have mistaken activity for productivity. And they feel like their business is running them, and that they're not like in command and control of their business. They're not getting the results that they want, and they either don't know why, or they have some sort of general sense of why, but they don't know how to fix it. So we actually take a step back from being, in the weeds, and get them up at the 40,000 foot level, looking at their business from a strategic standpoint, moving themselves from being the COE, chief of everything, to becoming the CEO, the chief executive officer, which is why you start a business, right? Not so that you could be working 90, 100 hours a week and doing everything from cleaning toilets to sales. You have a goal of what owning a business would look like for you. And sometimes people just don't know how to get themselves there. So that's why they come to me, and I work with them on that.
Nice. So how did you start that? Did you start your own business and figure that all out, or is that, you got out of college?
Yeah, so it's kind
university?
Well, no, it's kind of an interesting story. So I, back in the around 2011, 2012, I was working in central Alberta in Canada for our Regional Economic Development Authority. And I took a business coaching course at that time because part of my job was to help businesses be strong, stable, ready to grow. And then our work in economic development was to identify international companies that might like to come and get a foothold in the Central Alberta market. And we would sort of partner these businesses that wanted to grow with these international businesses so that they could start doing business together. So I knew that I needed to be able to do business coaching as part of that. In 2014, I actually hung my shingle out to become a consultant. And a lot of the work that I was doing in the early days of my consulting work was with nonprofits, doing strategy and planning and those sorts of things, as well as a lot of writing. So, economic development, marketing materials, business marketing materials, even technical writing. So I was doing a lot of that. And in early 2017, the folks from our regional innovation network, our economic development ecosystem, approached me and said, hey, we've got this funding to start a business incubator, and we'd like you to build it and run it. And I mean, I'm a total sucker for a project, like a blank piece of paper that I can, build something with and create, right? Like I love that, right? So it was a, fairly short-term commitment. I made a 2-year commitment, ended up staying 3, but I got to build this business incubator, and I fell in love with startups, right? They'd come in just full of vim and vigor about their idea. And that was when I really realized that I really enjoy training entrepreneurs and coaching entrepreneurs. So when the funding went away for the incubators, and there were 7 of us across the province, 7 incubators, and those incubators all closed down, and I went back just full time into my private practice. A lot of those entrepreneurs that I had served in the incubator just came with me, and I continued to coach them. And so that was really, so from 2017 until now, I've been, really actively engaged in coaching entrepreneurs and small businesses. So really, I had the training, but I kind of fell into the work, the opportunity showed up, and I took it, and I fell in love with it, and I've been doing it ever since.
That is awesome. That's to me, those kind of businesses, I mean, you're there because you want to be. I have a feeling that there are some business owners that are there because they hear the success stories and they're like, I want to do that too. And then they come up with something that, might not be as great as it could be. And then they start a business, and then they get disappointed, and then they end up working in a mine up north somewhere or whatever, So this kind of reminds me of the work that I'm doing with a startup in San Francisco. They hired me as the head of customer success for them. And it's kind of, when you said when an entrepreneur is in the weeds, they kind of can't see outside anymore. And I have that with this startup that I'm working with. Not so much that they don't know what they're doing, because they're super smart and they know exactly what they're doing. But they've been in this project for a year, and they can only see what they've built, and they don't have that 40,000 foot view. So they have a bunch of investors that keep them honest, and also they hired me because I have the view from a customer, because I was their first customer when they started, and we kept in touch. And so a year later, they were like, "Hey, you have skills. Don't you want to work for us?" I'm like, depends. So we made that deal, and now I'm pretending to be the customer and giving them that feedback, and also taking feedback from their actual customers. So yeah, when you said that, entrepreneurs can be in the weeds and not really see out the window anymore, I know exactly what that's like.
But how astute of them to recognize that they can't see that, and that they need to bring somebody in who can provide that external perspective. So that is huge. And that they were willing to make that investment, because oftentimes in a startup, it's like, well, I know, but I can't spend the money on that. But I have to do that myself because I can't spend the money on that. And like, if you want to scale and you want to scale quickly, you're going to have to make those early investments. And I also love that it's just a project that came to you. And that's how I have worked in my business. I have, a fairly broad base of skills and experience like you do. And so when opportunities come, I'm able to say yes, and then, we'll figure it out. If I need to bring in other team to make the project work, I can. But oftentimes we have this rigid, narrow view of, no, this is my lane and I have to stay in it. So I say no to all of these things, where the world of entrepreneurship is to be, I always talk about being like water. You're going down the river and there's stones and there's rocks and there's little islands and there's things, but you just flow around it and you go where the river is taking you. And if you will take that nimble and adaptive approach to your entrepreneurial journey, when you are an expert and a sole practitioner, then, you're going to be able to say yes to a lot more things. And it's always interesting and fascinating and exciting.
Yeah. And it keeps things interesting, because I've never been head of customer success for a startup in San Francisco. I don't know what I'm doing, so the team is so great. They're very open to my feedback, and I'm open to their feedback, and they, whatever it is they need me to do, I'll do. And it's a very great team to be in.
Wonderful.
So, I need to make a plug.
Okay. Yes.
I saw that Kevin shared, Kevin Lloyd from kevincanfixit.ca. He shared a quick peek of the podcast that he was doing with you. And I saw in your background the B&I bag. I'm like, I can make this a 1-to-1.
Absolutely. Let's do that. That. Yeah.
So when did you join B&I? Not to make this a whole B&I thing, but it's just interesting for other people to know what B&I is, I think.
Absolutely. So I built my business on the power of networking, and I am a huge believer in the power of networking, in building relationships. In fact, when I moved to the Central Alberta area, I just began to have, if somebody wanted to have coffee, I'm having coffee. They want to have lunch, I'm having lunch. If I can help them in some way, open a door for them, do something for them, I'm just interested and curious about what they're doing, right? And I did that for like 13 years, not even knowing that I was going to go into business for myself. I was just doing it, and when I hung my shingle out, kids don't try this at home, because I don't train entrepreneurs to start their businesses this way. But all I did was I paid a very little bit of money for a bad logo, and I put up a Facebook page. That was how I started. And within 3 days, I had enough business to be full-time in my business in 3 days. And that was because I had spent 13 years building a network. So I knew the power of a network. And over the years of me being in my practice, both when I was in Central Alberta and now that I'm in the greater Edmonton region, I knew that that's how, for me, that is the number one way that I want to build my business. So, I was aware of BNI, and I'd subbed for some people and been visitors in some chapters and whatnot. And last year, when I moved from Central Alberta up to the greater Edmonton region, I thought, okay, how am I going to get networked into the community here? Well, it just made sense, right, to join a BNI chapter. So this is my first year, officially as a member of BNI, but I fully understand the power of networking, and whether a person decides that BNI is the vehicle for them or some other networking movement or organization is right for them, I highly recommend everybody who's in business to be part of some networking group because it is so powerful.
I agree. The
Mm-hmm.
reason I joined BNI is um, I've been to networking events and there's no accountability. You walk in, you have coffee with someone, you say hi, you hand your business card, and you leave, and that's it.
Yeah.
And sometimes somebody follows up with that person that handed out a business card, and sometimes you do business with each other, but more
Mm-hmm.
often than not, you just had coffee and left.
It was happy
And
talk.
yeah, exactly. So with BNI, I like the fact that first of all, you get to know each other um, better because, well, one of the things is attendance. You have to be there, um, and the second thing is that well, you get to know each other, but also every week you report on what you've done for each other in the group, um,
Mm-hmm.
and that's huge because if you sit in a group and you said, I actually didn't do anything, then I mean, it's a little awkward, which is good because that kind of motivates, and it can be off-putting for some people because,
Mm-hmm.
if they don't do something 3 weeks in a row, they get, nervous and they don't want to go.
Right.
But
Yeah.
a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners see that as a challenge. Like, okay, I didn't do anything this week, but next week my numbers are going to be through the roof, and everybody's going to look at me like he's a rock star. Okay, maybe not that, but um, so yeah, the power of BNI. I didn't even join the chapter yet, and I already had 2 referrals. And then
Wow.
after I said, okay, I'm in, another referral came. So my first 2 years of BNI are paid for right now.
Yeah.
So it's yeah. Anyway, I didn't want to make this a BNI ad, but here we are.
Yeah. No, and like I say, whether it's BNI or whatever it is, what I always advise entrepreneurs is you need to know who your target audience is, and you need to know where their eyes are, and then you need to know where are the people who can help me get in front of those eyes,
Yep.
right? And so leveraging this group is an important part of your business development. It's not just find the customers, talk to the customers, sell to the customers, and close the sale. It's you can get so much further by building good relationships with people who can help you get in front of your customers. And if you are willing to help them, that synergistic relationship, that mutually beneficial relationship is just so powerful in building business.
100% agree. So is that part of your coaching?
Mm-hmm.
The networking part? Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually have a tool that I use called the engagement funnel. And um, I'll just quickly run you through it. So there's 5 levels to the engagement funnel, 5 different levels of audience that you'd be looking at when you are doing business development. The top level would be the bystander. These are people who don't know about your business, don't care about your business. It has zero impact on their lives.
Yep.
But the big thing is that they don't care. They don't know. They don't care. The
Yep.
second level is the onlooker, and they are people that know about your business but also don't care. They've never approached you, they've never bought from you. It doesn't have anything to do with anything they care about. They don't care. Then the third level would be the supporters. These are people who have bought from you at least one time, and they like you. They think you're good. They think your business is good. They're generally on your side. Then the next level are what we call the friends level. And these are your loyal customers. They are the people who you're their guy. They go to you for your product or service whenever they need it. They refer people to you. They are hardcore, like, brand ambassadors for you. And then the bottom level of the funnel is the agents. These are the people who have a vested interest, your team, you, the people who are actively working in the business. So what ends up happening is we, the agents, think, how am I going to grow my business? How am I going to grow my business? Well, if more people knew about me, more people would buy from me. So what they do is they spend at least 80% of their time marketing and advertising to those top 2 levels, right? And what's the common denominator for those top 2 levels? They don't care.
Yep.
So you're trying to make people care about you who don't care about you.
Yep.
And what ends up happening, they spend about 20% of their time, loving on and talking to the people who are in their supporters and friends level, maybe, but it's almost like there's a unconscious thing of, well, but I already have their money, so why would I need to invest in them, right? Like there's sort of that kind of mentality. If you are spending 80% of your time on those top 2 levels, not only will you not get the customer you don't have, but you end up losing the customer that you already have because you didn't care about them. You puncture a hole in your funnel, and all the supporters and friends fall out of your funnel because you aren't loving on them and valuing them and caring about them. The truth of the matter is that 80% of business growth comes from existing business. 80% of business growth comes from existing business. So if you would reverse that and spend 80% of your time loving on, upserving, valuing the people who are already on your side, it's way easier to do, for one thing. It's less costly to do. But those people actually go up, and it's a funnel for a reason, because the law of gravity works. Those people go up and get those top 2 levels and bring them down into the supporters and friends level. That's why if you are willing to focus on the people who really already love you and value you, and still spend 20% of your time advertising to the masses, that's fine. Don't not do that. But if you would have a fundamental focus on really leveraging the relationships you already have, it's the slow road to fast success.
Awesome. And it doesn't even have to be, you have to give a discount to your VIPs or your friends and family. Actually, funny that you say that, because yesterday I sent out an email campaign to my VIPs, basically saying, thanks for doing business with me.
Yeah.
The email was a little longer, but that was the whole essence of the email. And at the bottom I was like, thank you for your support. If there's anything we can do on our website to make your life better or easier, let us know. Because those are the people that actually give you feedback, because they've used the website over and over and over and over, because they sent you money,
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just acknowledging people, thanking them, letting them know that you appreciate them. The odd box of donuts and a coffee on a Friday or whatever it is, just like genuinely, and not in a manipulative, like, how can I get more money out of this person? But like, how are you doing? Since we last talked, since we had our project and our engagement, give me the update. I want to stay involved. And if there's any value that I can add, I'm here.
Yep. So, okay, change gears a little.
Yeah.
Who is and this may be a B&I question, but who is your ideal client?
So I really have 3 target audiences. I would say number 1 would be the small business that is struggling. Everything that we've talked about, the people that are in the weeds, feel like everything's scrambly and out of control, and really want to get into the driver's seat of their business bus. That would be my ideal referral, because I can really dig in with them and make a difference for them. then second would be the startups, the people that are, just either in the ideating phase or they've maybe moved into the concepting phase, but they're pre-revenue. They're not in the market yet. Love working with those. And like I said, I have a 12-week course that's specifically designed to help them get their business plan done and fully into the market. And then my third ideal client would be the not-for-profit that requires strategic planning, sustainability studies, marketing strategies, corporate values charters, and those sorts of things. So that pure consulting, management consulting work that not-for-profits need. So those are kind of the three ideal customers that I really love to serve. And I've really seen results with all of those people.
So how do you get the buy-in from, let's say, a struggling small business? I mean, I don't know what you charge. You don't have to say, but as a struggling business, the owner already needs to be in the mindset, I need help. And then they also need to be in the mindset of, I need to pay Danielle money to make myself money. How do you convert that mindset for them? Because they're not going to do it themselves usually, I assume.
Right. Generally speaking, people do come to me. I have a presence on social media. I have a podcast. I post a video on my social channels every Monday. I write a blog post and I have an email campaign to people in my list. So I'm there providing value. It's not a hard sell. It's really a soft presence where I'm just providing education and value to show people what I can help them with. But yeah, typically business comes to me and it is through referrals. And so if people come to me and they are struggling, very often, whether they're in the startup phase or they are a small business that's struggling or they are a nonprofit, one of their biggest stories going on in their head is, I don't have money. I don't have money for this. I don't have money.
Yep.
And so they think of working with a strategist as a nice to do, but if I don't have money, I just have to figure it out for myself, right? So in the early conversations, I talk about what are all the things that you need to be successful? What are all the tools that you need to be successful? Money is one of those things that you need to be successful, but it's just one thing, and it's a tool. And when we give all of our power away to money, and we're coming from a scarcity and lack perspective that I don't have money, so I can't do this, that's going to be our story. Then that's going to be our reality forever. No matter how much money you end up making, you'll always find yourself in this feeling and position that I don't have money, I don't have money, I don't have money. I got to tell you that driving my vehicle, if there's a knock in the engine, it doesn't matter if I think I have money for it or not. There is no way that I'm opening the hood and taking a wrench to my engine because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything about motors, right? So it would be ridiculous for me to just go, either I'm going to ignore that knock in the engine and just hope it goes away, or, oh, well, I don't have money to go to a mechanic shop, so I'm going to just try and fix it myself. Like, sorry, we don't do that, right?
Yeah. So
if you really are invested in the success of your business or organization, and you want to get out of this place of scarcity and lack and get the ROI, make the investment you need to make. Make the investment you need to make so that you can get that ROI. If I can help get you unstuck, then you're going to see the results, and that is going to more than pay for itself. Like you said with BNI, you already had referrals, and as soon as you made the investment in BNI, you got more referrals to the point where you've got your return on investment already, but you had to first make the investment.
Yep.
And then the return came, right? So if people are willing to say, I know I need help. I know this is not an area of expertise for me. I really want different results, and I'm willing to make the investment in this with an expert. And I know that if I will do what the expert tells me to do, I'll get that return on investment. And that's the entire point of it. I can't make people do the things, is the thing.
Yeah.
Is that we can develop the strategy and we can walk you through all the things, but you have to take those strategies that we develop and do all those things. And if you're willing to do that, you will have the ROI. I've seen it 100 times.
So you're a business mechanic.
Yeah.
Yeah. My business is knocking. My business is knocking. You have to see Danielle.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any success stories of, one of your clients that is like absolutely transformed from coming to you like, help, I'm not doing so well, to booming business right now? Yeah.
Oh, so many stories. And I kind of get this proud mama kind of feeling when I talk about them, because it's like, my babies, they went out and they were also right. So it feels really good when I see that happening. One of my favorite stories is when I was running the incubator. We had a business, an entrepreneur. He wasn't a business yet. He came into the incubator, and he'd had this amazing idea for a couple of years. And it was based on a personal experience he had where his teacher parents had gone through burnout, and he'd witnessed that. And then he grew up and went into frontline youth work, and then he experienced workplace burnout. And so he decided he was going to create this app and specifically target teachers and people who work with like RCMP doctors, people who have a high risk of burnout because of the work with people that they do. And so he created this app, and he went across the country to teachers conventions and was trying to, get interest in this app. And it was just not happening. It was not happening for him. And so he was thinking, well, maybe it's just a dumb idea and I should let it go. But he came into the incubator and brought his idea in. And we were able to walk him through the importance of effective market research. So he undertook a market research project and learned that he could see the problem, and he could see the people who had the problem. What he didn't know is that the people who had the problem wouldn't buy the solution. Why? Because people like doctors, policemen, and teachers, they think that they're impervious to the bad thing happening to them, right? No, yeah. They will avail themselves of help after the bad thing has happened and they've experienced burnout, but in advance, they wouldn't buy a proactive solution that could help them prevent it, because they just believe that it just won't happen to me. But what he found out in his market research is that there's this entire world of millennial and Gen Z entrepreneurs who have a virtual workforce, want to use technology to have a healthy, vibrant workplace culture, and want everybody to be out there living their best lives, right? Like the Richard Branson philosophy of business, like unlimited vacation, and I'm working from the yacht, and I'm on the golf course, and I'm working. And they were like, sign us up. We want this. Like, let's have this app. So he didn't pivot his business model, but he pivoted his audience to the people who would buy. And after he got market share, guess what happened? These folks over here who wouldn't buy started saying, hey, can we talk to you? Can we have a conversation? We're interested in what, right? So now he's got credibility. And since then, he's gone on to pivot his app and his tech and develop other apps. And he's got a fantastic company. He's won awards. He's like, connected to Silicon Valley, and he's just gone on to be wildly successful. And it all sort of came from this place where he was like, I don't know if I should walk away from this idea or what, but it's not working. And he came into the incubator, and we helped him figure out not only who has the problem, but who would buy the solution. And he was willing to do that and pivot, and the rest is history. So I love that story because I'm very proud of that young man's great work and all that's become for him. And one other story I'll tell you is about a gal that I knew who she was into, a lot of natural stuff and essential oils and clean skincare and whatnot. And she really wanted to, and she's an artist as well, right? So she's got these sort of two things where she does art, pottery and paintings and beautiful stuff, but she also is into creating with natural herbs and flowers and all that sort of thing. And she lives in a small town, and she wanted to, and she has 4 kids, and she really wanted to be able to start her business in her small town and make a go of this very eclectic and unusual business model in a small town, right? So we did a whole bunch of work about identifying like who would be her target audience and what was her value proposition and how would she, market herself and how would she leverage relationships and those sort of things. So she started out with a retail location. And it was wonderful because it became this sort of Saturday destination shopping where women would like they'd go on a road trip and drive to this small town, and she ran events and classes and all those sorts of things. But what she realized that she wasn't going to be able to scale to the degree that she wanted to. Plus she was putting in more hours than she wanted to because of the retail location. So she pivoted into wholesale, into stores, and she just began to knock on the doors of stores and put her product in stores. And now she's closed a retail location. She's just doing wholesale. She also still does classes for making these products and for her art, but she's freed up her time and been able to, really scale her production and her sales and her revenues as a result of just being willing to be nimble and adaptive, but doing all that strategy work that she needed to do as she went along. And I'm just really, really proud of her too.
And
I have a couple pieces of her art hanging in my living room too.
Oh, nice. And she still does that from that small town?
Yeah.
Awesome.
But she is present in several stores in central Alberta and looking to branch out to a broader region too. And yeah, I see her products in stores when I go into them, and it's just like, oh, hey.
Yeah. Hey, I know that. I know what that is. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
It's so fulfilling and gratifying for me to have an impact, with these folks and to see them go and flourish and grow. And it's just so fulfilling.
Yeah. Yeah. We often get the question because we're part of the organization of a music festival in small town Saskatchewan, in Bellevue. We usually, when we talk to the media or something, it's like, why Bellevue? Why a small town? Why don't you go to the city?
Right.
And we're like, well, we live here. Why not here?
Mm-hmm.
So we did that. We started that last year, knowing full well that, well, it is small town. So maybe city people won't come to our little small town for this. But it was such a success that we're doing it again this year in the same town, just outside in a bigger location. So I know, and I see a lot of, business spirit, let's call it that, in small towns, but they always move to the city. You don't have to.
That's right.
I mean, success story right there. small town.
And if the pandemic has taught us anything, and I love that the pandemic shifted that for us, where people had to think, how can we do business differently? And rural communities have always struggled with that, where people leave for opportunity and they think they'll come back, but they don't, right?
Yep.
And that's always been a thing. And now, like, we've just all accepted that we can live anywhere we want to.
Mm-hmm.
And that it doesn't have an impact on the success of our businesses, that we've really shifted into more of that global village, right?
Yeah. Okay. I think I've taken up enough of your time. Are there any last words, things you want to plug, things you want to say that I didn't ask?
I always want to let people know that if they want to get a hold of me, they can just go to onpointwithdanielle.ca, which is my website. And there is a free tool, a free downloadable tool on the website, and it's a business assessment wheel. And it talks about every area of your business, and you score yourself to see, how you're doing. And that's just a free tool that anybody can go to my website and download. And of course, on my website, if you click on the podcast tab, you would then get to listen to Business on Point, which is my podcast. And I love it when people listen to that and give me feedback on that. So happy to have conversations with anybody. I have a free 30-minute discovery call for anybody who just wants to ask questions and get to know a little bit more about me. And I'm always happy to do that. So yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity to be on here. It's been a great conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I'd love to talk more in the future.
Yeah,
because I think we have stories for each other.
I think so too, and fellow BNIers, and I'm going to have to work to get you on my podcast because I'm really interested in your story as well.
Count me in. I'm there.
Okay.
Awesome.
Sounds great. Thanks,
Danielle.